Ladies and gentlemen, our presentation today is about communicating in small groups and teams. This is our second video. My name is Andrew. We have some other presenters. We have Stephanie, Noelle, and Jennifer. We can move to the next slide here. We decided to start off with a joke here. And basically the joke talks about how a family is setting up a tent. And as they're setting up the tent, a nearby camper comes by and talks to the dad and says, "Wow, this is amazing, an amazing display of teamwork." Well, the father decides to reply, "Well, yeah, I have a system until everything's set up." So if we can move to the next slide here, we'll get things going. Our overview, basically we're going to be running through a few topics here. We have characteristics of an effective team. We have our group task building, maintenance roles, and individual roles. We're also going to be going over some theories with you and some conflict and problem solving techniques. So to begin our presentation, we have Stephanie with effective team characteristics.
Okay, so Carl Larson and Frank LaFasto did a long study over a period of time about teams that they found that were already effective. Some of these were NASA and McDonald's, so obviously big names that have made success for themselves. And they found 8 characteristics to be similar, but for time's sake and entertainment value, we're only going to talk about 4. The first one is a guiding goal, which basically just means that the team has to know what they're doing. This is where things like, in our class, a PERT chart or an agenda setting would come in handy to keep everybody on the same page. Next, we have a results-driven structure, and that's just organization, pretty much. You have to know what's due when, whose roles are what. There's maintenance roles and individual roles, which I'll talk about later. And then we have the leadership role, which leads to principal leadership. They found in their study that the best leaders are not one authoritarian leader, but leadership positions to team. And last is where our team name comes in. It's unified commitment. Basically, it's an all for one and one for all attitude. That's teamwork. And that's it. I suppose if you have those, then the more you have, the better your team will be.
Alright, so again, I'm Noelle, and we have some different roles that we are going to discuss today. And the first one is when you have group building and maintenance, you need someone who is going to be an encourager and who is going to say, "That was an excellent idea, you guys," and just be so out. See, you have to be so wonderful and uplifting, so that way all the team members feel happy about their ideas and are willing to contribute more. And then you also have to have a standard setter, which in our group is usually Mary, who tells us about where we should set the bar for everything and what we should be doing at what times. And with individual roles, sometimes you have an aggressor who is someone who is just kind of mean and destroys people's emotions and their ideas and makes them feel kind of low and dirty. And sometimes you have blockers who are just negative and stubborn for just about no reason whatsoever. And, like Andrew.
No.
And sometimes you have the joker, who is someone who makes jokes, brings things around that make no sense whatsoever to what you're talking about, kind of destroys the cohesion, and kind of tears down the group. And lastly, we have group task roles. And when you are working towards a task, you always have someone who is an information seeker. Like Andrew, when we are in class and we don't understand what's going on, Andrew is usually the one to raise his hand and say, "I don't understand. I don't think anybody understands what's going on." And they just ask for clarification. And then you have the information giver, which is someone who supplies the information that is asked for. And you have a recorder, who is the person who writes down all of the group's ideas throughout the task. And that's all from me.
Alright, I'm going to be talking to you guys about some theories that we apply to our group or our team in class. There's like 6 theories in the book, but there was a few that we thought really applied to our group. One of those being Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you could get that for me. In most of our communications classes, we've all seen Maslow's. The bottom's physiological needs: safety, love and belonging, esteem, and then self-actualization. And all these things are, they all kind of build off of each other. If you don't have the one at the bottom, you're not going to make your way up to the top. The next theory that we're going to talk about is the systems theory. Each aspect of a group depends on the function of the other. So within our group, we've learned definitely that if one person either isn't here or doesn't bring the information you're supposed to bring that day, doesn't read, we've learned that not only in our groups but in the small piano, if you're not prepared, it kind of delays the whole process. So that goes along with one function relying on the other. And to maintain a group, you have to adapt to outside changes. So, for example, like one of the things that we've learned too is with people not being able to be there, we have to adapt to that because we all have busy schedules and we obviously all can't be in one place at the same time. And then the third and final theory I'm going to talk about is structuration theory. The structuration theory provides a general for a group or for a team. It's more based on individual, how we build our team, how we encourage each other, how we set our agendas, and just the whole structure of the group, not only through planning but through individual personalities as well. So then we are now going to move on to Andrew, and he's going to talk about conflict management.
All right. So, just briefly, I'm going to go over some conflict types and how to kind of resolve them. First up, we have our pseudo-conflict, which it's kind of an individual's misunderstanding of each other's perceptions over a problem. This is very easily managed. You can manage it by asking for clarification from other people. You can also establish a supportive climate, a positive climate. And also encourage active listening. Now, if we move on to our simple conflict, which is not as simple as the first conflict I mentioned, this is more of a disagreement over a course of action idea, policy, or procedure. And some ways to kind of, get over that is to listen and clarify, kind of all the different variables within the conflict. Use facts, not opinions. Don't tell somebody that they're wrong if that's just your opinion. Back it up with what is, something that can be proven, basically. Another way to resolve this simple conflict is to determine which conflicts are most important to resolve, to kind of prioritize. If you have a problem with somebody, that's probably not as important as a huge project you have coming out due, in 2 days or something like that. So, and the conflict I want to go over is the ego conflict. This is more of a defense of the ego, more of an irrelevant type of conflict. And basically, it's when an individual believes he or she is being personally attacked. A few ways to resolve this conflict. You can let members express concerns without personal attacks. Speak slowly and calmly. And also just agree to disagree, if that's what it comes down to. So these are just, like I said, 3 conflict types that we've gone over in class. Kind of an explanation of what they are and also how you can manage them. And to our closing, we have a little photo here of teamwork. As you can see, there are 4 mice that are caught in a trap, about ready to go get the cheese. Well, from this picture, they all got killed by the mouse trap. So at the bottom here under teamwork, it says share victory and share defeat. This is what we believe in, that if one person fails, we all fail. If one person succeeds, we all succeed. So we figured we'd close on that little note there. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and thank you.